Taesung had attended exactly 100 council sessions in his career as Earth's diplomat. He knew this because he kept count, marking each one in a small notebook he carried everywhere. Today would be his 101st, and he expected it to be just as boring as the previous 99. The Galactic Council chamber was massive. Thousands of seats arranged in circular rows, each one filled with a representative from a different world. Some looked almost human. Others were so strange that Taesung still couldn't tell which end was their head. He had learned to smile politely at all of them. The current discussion was about trade routes through the Velkis sector. It had been going on for 3 hours. Taesung tried to pay attention, but his mind kept wandering. He looked at the massive holographic map floating in the center of the chamber. It showed the known galaxy, with colored regions marking each species' territory. The map was beautiful. Thousands of stars connected by glowing lines, territory after territory spreading across the spiral arms of the galaxy, and there at the edge was human space, a small cluster of systems colored in blue. The map showed routes going into human territory from all sides, but no routes going out the other side. The map simply ended at humanity's far border. Taesung had seen this map 1,000 times. He never thought about it anymore. That was just how things were. Diplomat Taesung. He turned to find a Velthari standing beside him. The Velthari were tall and thin, with skin that shifted colors based on their mood. This one's skin was showing patterns of purple and gold, which Taesung had learned meant curiosity. "Yes?" he said. "Can I help you?" "I am Jiwoo," she said. Her voice had a musical quality that all Velthari voices had. "I work in the Council's Department of Cartography. I hope I'm not disturbing you." "Not at all," Taesung said. The trade route discussion was still going on. He was happy for the distraction. "What can I do for you?" Jiwoo's skin flickered with more gold. "I have been studying the galactic maps. It is my job to keep them updated as we explore new regions, but I have noticed something strange." Taesung felt a small warning in his chest. He kept his face friendly and calm. "What have you noticed?" "The map ends at human space," Jiwoo said. She pulled out a small data pad and showed him. "Look, here's the Velkis sector we are discussing now. Routes go everywhere. Here is the Krotek Empire. Routes in all directions. But here," she zoomed in on human territory, "all routes stop at your borders." "Why is that?" "Well," Taesung said carefully, "human space is at the edge of the galaxy. There's not much beyond us." "But that is not true," Jiwoo said. Her skin was now showing orange streaks, which meant confusion. "I have studied the stellar surveys. There are thousands of systems beyond your territory, rich systems. Systems that should be perfect for colonization. But no one has mapped them. No one has even tried. Why?" Taesung's smile stayed in place, but something old and tired moved behind his eyes. "Perhaps those systems are not as promising as they appear." "Perhaps," Jiwoo said. "But I have found something else. Over the past 200 years, 17 exploration fleets from various species have requested permission to map the space beyond human territory. All 17 were approved. All 17 never returned. They are listed as lost to navigation errors." She looked at Taesung with large eyes that were much too intelligent. 17 fleets, Diplomat Taesung. That is not coincidence. That is a pattern." For a long moment, Taesung said nothing. He looked at this young researcher who had noticed what everyone else had learned not to see. He wondered what he should tell her. He wondered what he was allowed to tell her. "Sometimes," he said quietly, "it is better not to ask certain questions." Jiwoo's skin flashed red for just a second. "Anger or maybe fear. That is not an answer." "No," Taesung agreed. "It is not. But it is all I can give you right now." The council session ended shortly after. Taesung gathered his things and prepared to leave. As he walked through the crowded corridors, he saw other diplomats laughing and talking. They discussed the trade routes, the boring details of galactic politics. None of them seemed worried. None of them seemed to notice the question that Jiwoo had asked, or maybe they had all learned not to notice. In the human delegation's private office, Taesung found his assistant Hyorin waiting for him. She was young, only 25, fresh from Earth's diplomatic academy. This was her first posting. "How was the session?" she asked. "Fine," Taesung said. Then he stopped. "Hyorin, have you ever noticed anything strange about how other species treat us?" Hyorin looked up from her datapad. "Strange how? The way they interact with us. The way they talk about human space. Hyorin thought about it. Now that you mention it, yes, there is something. When other diplomats talk about exploring new territory, they get excited. They make plans. But when the conversation gets close to the region beyond our borders, they change the subject. Every time. I thought maybe it was just coincidence. It is not coincidence, Taesung said. Then what is it? Taesung looked at his young assistant. He remembered being her age, full of questions and curiosity. He remembered the day he learned the truth. He remembered how it had changed everything. It is an agreement, he said. An agreement that no one talks about because talking about it would break it. An agreement about what? Before Taesung could answer, his communicator buzzed. He looked at the screen and his expression changed. The message was from Dae-hyun, the military attaché. It was marked urgent. I have to go, Taesung said. Stay here. Review the reports from today's session. But stay here, Hyorin. Taesung left quickly. He took a private transport to the military section of the station. This area was restricted. Only certain people were allowed here. The guards knew him and let him pass without questions. Dae-hyun was waiting in a secure room. He was older than Taesung, with gray hair and scars on his hands that he never talked about. He had been a commander in Earth's deep space fleet before retiring to diplomatic service. We have a problem, Dae-hyun said without greeting. The Velthari researcher, Taesung said. You have already heard? She approached me today. Asked about the maps. Asked about the 17 lost fleets. Dae-hyun's jaw tightened. How much did you tell her? Nothing. But she is smart. She will keep looking. Then we need to make a decision, Dae-hyun said. He pulled up a holographic display. It showed Ji-woo's personnel file. Do we bring her in? Or do we shut her down? Taesung looked at the file. Ji-woo was young, brilliant, and stubborn. The kind of person who would not stop asking questions just because someone told her to. If we shut her down, she will know something is wrong. Taesung said, she will dig deeper. And if we bring her in, then she will know the truth. And the truth? Taesung trailed off. The truth might break her, Dae-hyun finished. It breaks most people. They stood in silence, two men carrying a secret that was too heavy for one species to bear alone. Outside the secure room, the galaxy continued on. Thousands of species going about their lives, never knowing what waited in the dark beyond human space. Never knowing what humanity had been fighting for 300 years. Contact her, Taesung finally said. Bring her in. She has already asked the question. We cannot let her find the answer on her own. That would be worse. Dae-hyun nodded slowly. I will arrange it. But Taesung, once we tell her, there is no going back. For her or for us. I know, Taesung said. Believe me, I know. That night, Ji-woo sat in her small apartment, unable to sleep. She kept thinking about Taesung's face when she asked her question. That look in his eyes. It was not surprise. It was not confusion. It was something else. It was the look of someone who knew exactly what she was asking about, and who wished desperately that she had not asked. Her data pad buzzed. A message from an unknown source. She opened it carefully. Meet us tomorrow. Dock 47, Section Gray. Come alone. We will answer your questions. But be warned, some answers cannot be unlearned. Ji-woo stared at the message for a long time. Her skin flickered through a dozen colors as emotions warred inside her. Fear, curiosity, excitement, dread. She should delete the message. She should forget about the maps and the missing fleets. She should do her job and stop asking questions that no one wanted to answer, but she knew she would not. She would go to Dock 47. She would hear what they had to say. And then, she suspected her life would never be the same. Ji-woo arrived at Dock 47 exactly on time. The section was old, one of the original parts of the station built centuries ago. The lights were dim and the corridors empty. Her skin showed deep blue patterns. Nervousness. A human woman waited by an unmarked door. She was small and wore simple clothes, but her eyes were sharp and measuring. I am Sang-mi, the woman said. You must be Ji-woo. Come with me, please. They walked through several locked doors. Each one required different security clearances. Ji-woo noticed cameras everywhere, all of them pointing at her. Finally, they entered a large room filled with old computers and storage units. This is the Deep Archive, Sang-mi explained. I work here. My job is to maintain records that most people are not allowed to see. What kind of records? Jiwoo asked. The kind that answer your questions, Sangmi said. She sat down at a terminal and began typing. But first I need to tell you something. Once you hear this, you cannot unhear it. You will carry this knowledge for the rest of your life. It will change how you see the galaxy. Are you sure you want to continue? Jiwoo's skin flickered between colors. Part of her wanted to run. Part of her needed to know. I am sure, Sangmi nodded. Then let me tell you about the 17 fleets. She pulled up files on the screen. Records, reports, last transmissions. The first fleet disappeared 197 years ago. It was a Krotech expedition. 20 ships. They entered the region beyond human space and vanished. No distress calls. No debris fields. Just gone. The official report says navigation error, Jiwoo said. The official report is a lie, Sangmi said bluntly. The Krotech sent a rescue fleet. That fleet found something. We do not know exactly what because they destroyed all their records before running back to Krotech space. But we know it terrified them. After that, the Krotech Empire quietly agreed to mark that region as prohibited. And the other fleets? Same story, different species. Each one went looking. Each one found something they were not prepared for. Most never came back. The few that did, they were changed, traumatized. Their crews could not explain what they had seen. Sangmi opened another file, but one crew member survived with his mind mostly intact. His name was Youngjae. He was Velthari. Like you, Jiwoo's skin went pale. Youngjae? That is my brother's name. But my brother died 15 years ago. His ship was lost in an exploration accident. Your brother is not dead, Sangmi said gently. He is alive, and he is here on this station. The room seemed to tilt. Jiwoo grabbed the edge of the desk. That is impossible. We had a funeral. My family mourned. Your family mourned because that was easier than the truth, Sangmi said. Youngjae's expedition entered the dark region. His entire fleet was destroyed. He was the only survivor. A human military ship found him and brought him back, but he was not the same. What he saw out there broke something inside him. I need to see him, Jiwoo said. He lives in Section Delta under a different name. He agreed to meet you. Sangmi stood up. But Jiwoo, you need to prepare yourself. Your brother has been carrying a terrible burden for 15 years. What he will tell you, it is worse than you imagine. They took a transport to Section Delta. It was a residential area for people who wanted privacy. Sangmi led Jiwoo to a small apartment. The door opened before they could knock. Youngjae stood there. He looked older than he should, with lines on his face that had not been there before. But it was him. Jiwoo's brother. Alive. Hello, little sister, he said quietly. Jiwoo could not speak. She just stared at him. Finally, she managed to say, Why? Why did you let us think you were dead? Because dead was safer, Youngjae said. For me and for you. Come inside. I will explain everything. They sat in his small living room. Youngjae made tea with shaking hands. Then he began to talk. My fleet was surveying systems beyond human space. We were excited. The stars there are rich. Good planets. We thought we would find new worlds to colonize. For 3 weeks, everything was normal. We mapped systems. We took samples. Then we found the ruins. Ruins? Jiwoo asked. Cities. Huge cities on a dozen different worlds. But they were empty. No bodies, no signs of war. Just empty buildings and silent streets. It was like entire civilizations had simply vanished. We should have left then. But we were curious. We kept exploring. Youngjae's hands shook harder.
He put down his tea.
That is when we started having the dreams. Every crew member, every night. Dreams of shadows. Dreams of things watching us from places that should not exist. We thought it was stress, but then people started seeing things while awake. Shadows moving in the corners of rooms, whispers in the ship's systems. The AI started malfunctioning. Simple commands would fail. Doors would lock randomly. Life support would flicker. Our chief engineer checked everything. No technical problems. The ship was working perfectly. But something was wrong. Jiwoo's skin showed dark purple, fear. What was it? We called them the Void Stalkers, Youngjae said. We never saw them clearly. They exist in the spaces between spaces. They are not matter. Not energy. Something else. And they hunt. Hunt what? Minds. Consciousness. They are drawn to intelligent life. They feed on thoughts, on dreams, on the psychic energy that all thinking beings produce. And when they find you, Young Jay closed his eyes. They break you, drive you mad, turn you against yourself. 5 ships vanished first, just gone like they had never existed. Then the attack started. Crew members would suddenly turn violent, or they would sit down and stop responding, staring at nothing. Some jumped out airlocks. Others destroyed critical systems. Within 2 days, most of my fleet was gone. My ship was one of the last. We were running, trying to get back to known space. But the Void Stalkers were faster. They were inside our minds. I could feel them, cold and hungry and ancient. I watched my friends go mad one by one. Young Jay opened his eyes. They were wet. Then a human ship appeared. It was a military vessel. They fired weapons I had never seen before. Not at us, but at the empty space around us. And the pressure in my mind, it stopped. The humans pulled me from my dying ship. They saved my life. But why did they make you disappear? Jiwoo asked. Why tell everyone you were dead? Because of what I knew, Young Jay said. The humans have been fighting the Void Stalkers for 300 years. Since before they joined the galactic community. They know things about these creatures that no one else knows. And they know something else too. He leaned forward. If the galactic community learns about the Void Stalkers, there will be panic. Billions of minds all screaming in fear at once. And that psychic scream will draw every Void Stalker in the dark region straight to us. The fear itself would doom us all. So humanity keeps the secret, Sang-mi said from the doorway. They fight the war alone. Every border station is really a military fortress. Every research mission near human space is actually a combat patrol. Humanity has been the galaxy's shield for 3 centuries and no one even knows it. Jiwoo could not process it. It was too big. Too terrible. Why? Why would humans do this? They could have warned everyone. They could have asked for help. Would you have believed them? Young Jay asked. Think about it. Humans are newcomers to the galactic community. If they had started talking about invisible monsters that feed on thoughts, what would people have said? They would have said humans were crazy, Jiwoo admitted. Exactly. And by the time people believed them, it would be too late. The panic would have started. So humanity made a choice. They decided to be the wall, to stand between the darkness and the light. They carry this burden so that the rest of us can sleep safely. Sang-mi pulled out a data pad. I have been tracking these incidents for years. I am one of the few human civilians who knows the full truth. The military keeps most of it classified. But I can show you the numbers. 300 years of combat reports, thousands of engagements, tens of thousands of human soldiers who have faced the Void Stalkers. She showed Jiwoo the data. Battle after battle, victory and loss, an endless war fought in secret. Every human who serves on the border stations knows they might not come back, Sang-mi said. They know they are fighting an enemy that can destroy their minds. But they go anyway. Because someone has to. Jiwoo looked at her brother. Are you all right now? No, Young Jay said honestly. I still have the dreams. I still see shadows sometimes. The human doctors helped me. They taught me techniques to protect my mind. But I will never be the person I was before. The Void Stalkers touched me. That does not go away. I am sorry, Jiwoo whispered. Do not be sorry for me, Young Jay said. Be sorry for the humans who fight this every day. Be sorry for the soldiers who stand at the edge of darkness so we do not have to. They are heroes, little sister, and no one even knows their names. There was a long silence. Finally, Jiwoo asked, what happens now? What do I do with this information? That is up to you, Sang-mi said. You asked questions. We gave you answers. But now you must decide. Do you keep this secret? Or do you tell the galaxy the truth? If I tell, there will be panic, Jiwoo said slowly. Yes, Sang-mi agreed. But if I do not tell, then humanity continues to fight alone. Also, yes, Jiwoo stood up. Her skin was cycling through colors rapidly. Too many emotions at once. I need time. I need to think about this. Take all the time you need, Sang-mi said. But Jiwoo? While you are thinking... 3 days later, Jiwoo stood in a transport ship heading toward the edge of human space. Taesung sat across from her looking tired. You did not have to come, he said. Yes, I did, Jiwoo replied. Her skin showed determined red patterns. You told me the truth. Now I need to see it. What you will see cannot be unseen. I know. The transport traveled for 2 days. They passed through system after system. Normal space where trade ships and passenger vessels moved freely. But as they got closer to the border, traffic disappeared. They saw only military ships now, big ones heavily armed. Finally, they arrived at Defense Platform Omega-7. Jiwoo had expected a military base. What she saw was a fortress. The platform was enormous, bigger than most space stations. Weapons covered every surface. Shields glowed around it like a second skin. "Welcome to the last light," Taesung said quietly. "That is what the soldiers call it." They docked and were met by armed guards. The guards looked different from regular soldiers. Their eyes had a distant quality, like they were looking at something no one else could see. They moved with careful precision, always checking corners, always watching. A man approached them. He was maybe 50 years old, but he looked older. His uniform had the marks of a captain. "Diplomat Taesung," he said. "And you must be Jiwoo. I am Kung-Soo, commander of this platform. Welcome to the edge of everything." They walked through the station. It was clean and efficient, but there was something wrong about it. The walls were covered in strange symbols. The lights had an odd color. And there was a feeling in the air, a pressure, like something was pushing against the edge of reality. "You feel it," Kyung-Soo said. It was not a question. That is the presence. The Voidstalkers are always close here, always watching. You get used to it. Mostly. He led them to an observation deck. Through the windows, Jiwoo could see stars. But between the stars were patches of darkness that seemed too dark. Spaces where no light reached. "That is where they live," Kyung-Soo said, pointing at the dark patches. "In the spaces between. They cannot fully enter our reality. Not usually. But they can reach through, touch minds, corrupt systems. And sometimes when they gather enough power, they can manifest." "How long have you been here?" Jiwoo asked. 30 years. "Since I was 20. I have fought in over 200 engagements. Lost count after that." Kyung-Soo's voice was flat, emotionless. "Most commanders do not last this long. They rotate out after 10 years. But I am stubborn, and someone needs to train the new ones." A woman joined them. She was younger, maybe 40, with kind eyes. "This is Yoonji," Kyung-Soo said. "Our psychologist. She keeps us sane, mostly." "Nice to meet you," Yoonji said. "Kyung-Soo, you should rest. You have been on duty for 18 hours. I will rest when the shift changes." He turned to Jiwoo. "Would you like to see the training center? We have new recruits. They are learning what we face here." The training center was large and filled with equipment Jiwoo did not recognize. Young soldiers practiced strange exercises. They sat in meditation poses, but their eyes were open and moving rapidly. They spoke in languages Jiwoo had never heard. They moved through combat forms that seemed designed for enemies who did not exist in normal space. "We teach them to think differently," Yoonji explained. "Normal thinking attracts the Voidstalkers. Linear thoughts. Clear patterns. Those are like beacons to them. So we teach our soldiers to think in circles, to dream in ways that do not make sense. It protects them. It also changes them," Kyung-Soo added. "Makes them seem strange to other humans. But it keeps them alive." One of the recruits caught Jiwoo's attention. He was young, maybe 25. He sat alone, staring at nothing. Sweat covered his face. "That is Hyunwoo," Yoonji said softly. "He arrived 3 weeks ago. Bright kid, top of his academy class. But book learning does not prepare you for this." As they watched, Hyunwoo suddenly screamed. He fell from his chair, clawing at his head. Other soldiers rushed to help him. They held him down gently but firmly. One of them spoke in those strange languages, saying words that made Jiwoo's skin hurt to hear. Slowly, Hyunwoo stopped screaming. He lay on the floor, breathing hard. "What happened to him?" Jiwoo asked. "Training incursion," Kyung-Soo said. "We expose recruits to weak Voidstalkers in controlled conditions. Lets them learn to resist while we can still pull them back." Hyunwoo froze. Let the thing into his thoughts. "He will do better next time. And if he does not, then he will go home," Yoonji said. "Not everyone can fight this war. Some minds are not built for it. There is no shame in that." An alarm blared. Red lights flashed. Kyung-Soo's entire body tensed. "Contact," he said. "Real one. All hands to stations." He looked at Taesung. "Get her to the safe room." "No," Jiwoo said. "I need to see this." "This is not a training exercise," Kyung-Soo said. "This is actual combat. People might die. I know. But I need to see, please." Kyung-Soo stared at her for a long moment. Then he nodded. "Stay close to me. Do exactly what I say. If I tell you to close your eyes, you close them. If I tell you to run, you run. Understood?" "Understood." They ran through corridors. Soldiers moved everywhere, heading to their positions. They moved with practiced efficiency, no panic, no confusion. They had done this before. Many times, they reached the command center. Screens showed the space around the platform. At first, Jiwoo saw nothing unusual. Then she noticed it. The dark patches between stars were moving, growing, reaching toward the platform like fingers. 3 contacts, a soldier reported. Size Class 7. They are testing our perimeter. Weapons ready, Kyung-soo ordered. Pattern Delta 4. On my mark, the platform's weapons fired. But these were not normal weapons. The energy they shot was wrong. It had colors that should not exist, shapes that hurt to look at. The beams hit the dark patches and the darkness screamed. Jiwoo heard it, not with her ears, with her mind. A sound like breaking glass and dying stars in the end of hope. They are manifesting, someone shouted. On the screens, things began to appear. Jiwoo could not describe them properly. They were like shadows, but shadows that moved wrong. They had shapes that changed every second. Eyes that were not eyes, mouths that opened into nothing. Here they come, Kyung-soo said. His voice was still calm. Remember your training. Do not look directly at them. Do not let them into your thoughts. The Void Stalkers attacked, not the platform. The minds inside it. Jiwoo felt it immediately. A pressure in her skull. A whisper at the edge of hearing. Images flashing in her mind. Her worst fears. Her deepest shames. All of it pulled out and displayed. She saw her family dying. Saw herself failing. Saw the galaxy burning. Close your mind, Yoonji said. She was suddenly beside Jiwoo, holding her shoulders. These are not your thoughts. They are invasive. Push them out, but Jiwoo could not. The thoughts were too strong, too real. She felt herself falling into them. Then she heard singing. Human voices chanting in those strange languages. The pressure eased slightly. She could breathe again. We are with you, Yoonji said. You are not alone in this. On the screens, the battle continued. Human soldiers fired those impossible weapons. The Void Stalkers twisted and screamed. Some of them began to fade, but others grew stronger. Contact on Deck 7, someone reported. It breached the shields. Seal that deck, Kyung-soo ordered. Deploy containment team. Through the camera feeds, Jiwoo watched soldiers run into Deck 7. They found the Void Stalker there, a mass of shadow and wrongness. It had possessed 3 crew members. The possessed stood frozen, their mouths open in silent screams, their eyes showing only darkness. The containment team did not hesitate. They formed a circle around the possessed. They began to sing. Those strange songs in languages that should not work. The Void Stalker thrashed. It tried to spread to more crew members. But the singing held it back. One soldier stepped forward.
He held a device that glowed with that wrong light.
He placed it against one of the possessed crew members. The light flared. The crew member collapsed. The soldier moved to the next one. Then the next. The Void Stalker shrieked one final time. Then it was gone, just gone. The 3 crew members lay on the deck, breathing but unconscious. Deck 7 secure, the containment team leader reported. Good work, Kyung-soo said. All teams continue firing. Push them back. The battle lasted another 20 minutes. Slowly, the Void Stalkers retreated. The dark patches shrank. The pressure in Jiwoo's mind faded. Finally, the alarm stopped. Contact lost, a soldier reported. They are gone. Stand down to alert level 2, Kyung-soo ordered. Damage report. Minor hull damage to sections 3 and 12. 7 crew members unconscious from psychic attack. 3 injured restraining possessed personnel. No casualties. Good. Kyung-soo turned to Jiwoo. Now you have seen it. This is what we face. Every day, every night. This is the war no one knows about. Jiwoo could not speak. Her skin showed pale white. Shock Yoonji guided her to a chair. Sit, breathe, you did well. Better than most first-timers, Hyun-woo was brought into the command center. He was one of the 3 who had been possessed. His eyes were open now, but they looked haunted. Empty. Will he recover? Jiwoo managed to ask. Physically, yes, Yoonji said. Mentally, that depends on him. Some people bounce back. Others carry the scars forever. Being possessed is not something you forget. Kyung-soo sat down heavily. Now that the battle was over, he looked exhausted. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was the largest gathering in 50 years. Every species sent representatives. The chamber was packed. Jiwoo stood at the central platform, her skin cycling through nervous colors. Tae-sung stood beside her. Behind them, screens showed footage from Platform Omega-7, the battle Ji-woo had witnessed. The Voidstalkers manifesting, human soldiers fighting things that should not exist. The chamber exploded into noise, thousands of voices shouting at once. Some called the footage fake, others demanded explanations. A few species representatives simply stared in horror. "Order!" The council speaker banged his staff. "Order in this chamber." Slowly, the noise died down. The speaker looked at Ji-woo. "Researcher Ji-woo, you have brought us claims of a threat beyond human space, a threat that humanity has kept secret for 3 centuries. Explain yourself." Ji-woo took a deep breath. "I began investigating anomalies in our galactic maps. I discovered that 17 exploration fleets had vanished beyond human territory, all listed as navigation accidents. But when I dug deeper, I found the truth. There is something out there, something that hunts intelligent life. Humanity has been fighting it alone, fighting to protect all of us. Lies." A Crotech representative stood up. "Humans are trying to manipulate us, create fear, gain power." "I have seen the footage," a Velkus diplomat said. "It could be fabricated." "It is not fabricated," a new voice said. Bora, one of the council elders, stood up. She was Velthari, ancient and respected. "I have suspected this truth for many years. I have seen the patterns, the way humans position their fleets, the weapons they develop, the way they keep their borders closed. I thought it was paranoia. Now I understand. It was protection." Another human entered the chamber. She was older, wearing the formal robes of high office. "Sujin, the Human Secretary General of the Galactic Council." "Honored representatives," Sujin said. Her voice carried through the chamber. "What researcher Ji-woo has told you is true. Humanity has kept this secret. Not from malice, not from a desire for power, but from necessity. We made a choice 300 years ago. A hard choice. We chose to be your shield." "You had no right to make that choice," someone shouted. "You are correct," Sujin said calmly. "We had no right, but we also had no choice. When humanity first encountered the Voidstalkers, we tried to warn the galaxy. We sent messages. We shared evidence. We were laughed at, called insane, accused of seeking attention. So we stopped talking and started fighting." She gestured and more footage appeared. Battle after battle. Human ships engaging the darkness. Soldiers fighting possession. Platforms holding the line. For 300 years we have stood between you and nightmares. We have lost millions of soldiers. We have sacrificed our peace. Our people live with trauma that never heals. We did this because someone had to. Because the alternative was unthinkable. Why tell us now? The Crotech representative asked. His anger had faded to uncertainty. Because we are losing, Sujin said simply. The Voidstalkers grow stronger every year. More coordinated, more aggressive. We have held the line for 3 centuries, but we cannot hold it forever. Not alone. The time has come for the galaxy to stand together. The chamber erupted again. Some species wanted to withdraw from human space entirely. Others demanded detailed reports. A few called for humanity's expulsion from the council. Enough, Sujin's voice cut through the chaos. I invoke the ancient protocols. I request a closed session with the founder species only. This is my right as a council member. The ancient protocols had not been used in 200 years. They allowed any species to request a private meeting with the 5 species that had founded the council. The speaker had no choice but to honor the request. This session is suspended, he announced. Founder species will convene in 1 hour. The private chamber was much smaller. Only 6 representatives present. The 5 founders and Sujin. Ji-woo and Bora were allowed to attend as witnesses. Tae-sung stood with Sujin. You may speak freely here, the Velkus founder said. Tell us everything. A human scientist named Insu entered the room. He was young, but his eyes looked old. He carried data pads filled with research. I have spent 20 years studying the Voidstalkers, Insu said. Let me explain what they are. They exist in the spaces between dimensions. They are not physical beings like us. They are consciousness without form, hunger without body. They feed on psychic energy. The energy that all intelligent life produces simply by thinking, by dreaming, by hoping. He displayed complex diagrams. Civilizations produce massive amounts of psychic energy. Billions of minds all thinking together creates a signal that the Voidstalkers can detect across vast distances. When a civilization reaches a certain level of development, When it produces enough psychic energy, the Void Stalkers come. The ruins we found beyond human space, Jiwoo said. Those were civilizations that attracted the Void Stalkers? Correct. We estimate there were thousands of advanced civilizations in that region over millions of years, all of them destroyed. The Void Stalkers consume a civilization's psychic energy until nothing remains. No thoughts, no dreams, no life, just empty cities and silent worlds. Then how did humanity survive? A Crotech founder asked. By accident, Insu said. Earth's location is unique. We developed near a weak point in dimensional barriers, a place where the Void Stalkers could occasionally reach through, not enough to destroy us, but enough to touch us. He showed images of human history, ancient cave paintings showing shadow figures, medieval texts describing demons, modern reports of strange phenomena. Humanity has been exposed to minor Void Stalker incursions for our entire existence. We did not know what they were. We called them ghosts, demons, spirits, but we adapted to them, developed mental defenses without realizing it. Our myths and legends taught us to guard our thoughts. Our religions taught us to resist temptation and possession. Our evolution was shaped by invisible predators. So when humanity reached the stars and encountered the Void Stalkers in force, we were not defenseless. We were traumatized, yes, horrified, but not helpless. We could resist their psychic attacks. We could fight back. We were the first species in this region of space to survive contact with them. Why did you not tell us this? The Sulani founder asked. Not angry. Just curious, would you have believed us? Sujin asked. Be honest. If a new species joined the council and immediately started talking about invisible monsters that eat thoughts, what would you have said? Silence. The founders looked at each other. Finally, the Velkis founder nodded. We would have thought you were insane. Or lying. Exactly. So we kept quiet and kept fighting. We hoped that maybe eventually we could eliminate the threat entirely. We have failed. The Void Stalkers cannot be eliminated, only held back, and we can no longer hold them back alone. Insu stepped forward again. But there is hope. I believe that by combining the strengths of all our species, we can develop better defenses. The Velthari have the most advanced mathematics in the galaxy. Your equations could help us predict Void Stalker incursions. The Crotech are masters of biological engineering. You could help us develop better mental defenses. The Solani can manipulate energy in ways we cannot. Your technology could create stronger weapons. Each species has unique abilities. Together, we could do what humanity alone cannot. We could push the Void Stalkers back, maybe even find a way to seal the dimensional rifts they use to enter our reality. Bora spoke up. I have a question. If we refuse to help, what will humanity do? Sujin looked at her steadily. We will continue to fight, until we can no longer hold the line. And when our defenses fail, the Void Stalkers will spread across the galaxy. They will destroy every civilization they encounter, including yours. That is not a threat, she added quickly, just reality. We are not trying to manipulate you with fear. We are telling you the truth. The choice is yours. Stand with us or stand alone when the darkness comes. The Crotech founder leaned forward. How long do we have? Years, Sujin said. Maybe decades. But not centuries. The attacks grow stronger. Our losses mount. Eventually we will break. The only question is whether we face this threat united or divided. And what about panic? The Sulani founder asked. You said yourself that revealing this truth would cause fear. Fear that would attract more Void Stalkers. That is the risk, Insu admitted. We must be careful how we reveal this information. Control the narrative. Teach people to protect their minds before teaching them what they must protect against. It will not be easy. But the alternative is worse. The founders discussed among themselves. Their conversation was private, using communication methods the others could not access. Jiwoo watched them, her skin showing anxious patterns. Finally, the Velkis founder spoke. We will put this to a vote. All 5 founders must agree. If even one refuses, the proposal fails. We, the Velkis, vote in favor. We will stand with humanity. The Solani founder nodded. The Solani agree. We will help. The Crotech founder hesitated longer. The Crotech remember our lost fleets. We remember the fear. But we also remember that running from fear has never saved anyone. We vote in favor. 2 more founders remained. The tension in the room was unbearable. The Thessar vote in favor, the 4th founder said. All eyes turned to the last founder, the Yolon. 6 months had passed since the council vote. Jiwoo stood on the bridge of the combined fleet's flagship and barely recognized the galaxy anymore. Ships from 40 different species floated in formation around her. Crotech biovessels that looked like giant sea creatures, Felkis mathematical ships that moved in impossible patterns, Solani energy cruisers that glowed like stars, and human warships teaching the others what 3 centuries of war had taught them. Fleet Admiral Ji-hun commanded the operation. He was human, older, with gray hair and steady hands. He had been fighting Voidstalkers since he was 20. Now he had to teach the entire galaxy how to do the same. All ships report ready, the communications officer said. She was Velkis, her skin showing focused blue patterns. Good, Ji-hun said. Begin final checks. We move in 1 hour. Jiwoo watched the preparations. The 6 months had been chaotic. Training exercises where alien crews learned to fight enemies they could not see. Technological exchanges where each species shared their secrets. Political battles as conservative factions tried to halt the initiative. But they had persevered. And now the combined fleet was ready for its first major operation. They would push forward into the dark region beyond human space. Establish new defensive positions. Show the Voidstalkers that humanity no longer stood alone. Nervous? Tae-sung appeared beside her. He had been appointed as the civilian liaison for the fleet. Terrified, Jiwoo admitted. What if this does not work? What if the other species cannot adapt? Some cannot, Tae-sung said honestly. We have already seen that. Some species' minds are too vulnerable. The ferreth, for example. Their entire neural structure makes them susceptible to possession. They have withdrawn from combat operations. But others have surprised us. The Crotech developed a biological treatment that strengthens mental defenses. The Velkis created predictive algorithms that tell us where Voidstalkers will appear before they manifest. The Solani found a way to disrupt dimensional rifts. Each species contributes something unique. Minseo, a Velthari scientist, approached them. She had been working with Insu on detection technology. We are ready for the field test. If my calculations are correct, we should be able to predict incursions 6 hours in advance now. That gives us time to position forces and prepare defenses. That is incredible, Jiwoo said. Humanity could only predict them minutes in advance. Humanity had to do everything alone, Minseo said. Her skin showed proud purple patterns. Now we work together. We can do more. Young Woo Jin walked past, checking on the crew stations. He was still just an ensign, but he had become invaluable as a liaison officer. He helped alien crews understand human tactics, helped human soldiers adjust to working with other species. Jiwoo had watched him work. He never got frustrated, never showed impatience. When a Crotech officer panicked during a simulation, Woo Jin sat with him for hours teaching him breathing techniques. When a Sulani engineer could not understand human defensive protocols, Woo Jin rewrote them in mathematical formulas she could comprehend. 5 minutes to departure, Ji-hun announced. All crew to your stations. The bridge became a hive of activity. Officers from a dozen species worked side by side. At first it had been clumsy. Different species had different ways of doing things. Different protocols. Different assumptions, but they had learned to adapt. Humans learned to communicate in the precise mathematical language the Velkis preferred. Crotech learned to make decisions faster, matching human combat speed. Sulani learned to trust gut instincts alongside their energy readings. All ships ready, the communications officer reported. Then let us begin, Ji-hun said. All ships engage drives. Formation Delta 7. Destination, the boundary. The fleet moved forward. Hundreds of ships traveling together toward the edge of known space. Toward the darkness where the Voidstalkers waited, they traveled for 3 days. As they got closer to the boundary, the pressure started. That feeling of being watched, of something pushing against reality. The alien crews felt it immediately. It is in my head, a Crotech officer said, his voice shaking. That is normal, Hyunwoo said. He had recovered from his possession and returned to duty. Do not fight it. Let it flow past you like water. You are a stone in a stream. The water cannot move you, the officer tried. His breathing steadied. It is better, thank you. We all help each other, Hyunwoo said. That is how we survive. On the 4th day, Minseo's detection system alerted them. Incursion predicted in 5 hours. Location Grid 773. Estimated strength, 9 entities. 9? Ji-hun looked grim. That is more than predicted. The Void Stalkers are testing us, Insu said. He was on the bridge as chief science advisor. They know something has changed. They want to see how we fight together. Then let us show them, Ji-hun said. All ships move to intercept positions. Human vessels take point. Velka's ships provide tactical coordination. Krotek biovessels prepare counter-possession protocols. Sulani cruisers ready dimensional disruption. The fleet moved into position. This was the formation they had practiced for months. Each species playing to their strengths. Humans faced the front line where the psychic assault would be strongest. Velka's coordinated from safe distance. Krotek ships stood ready to extract possessed crew members. Sulani ships prepared to seal the rifts the Void Stalkers would use. 1 hour to incursion, Minseo reported. The bridge was silent. Tense. Waiting. Remember your training, Ji-hun said calmly. Do not look directly at them. Do not let them into your thoughts. Trust your shipmates. Trust the fleet. We stand together. Contact in 30 seconds, Minseo said. Ji-woo felt her skin turn pale white. She could feel it now. The pressure building. The darkness gathering. Her brother Young Jae had described this feeling. The moment before the Void Stalkers arrived, contact. Space tore open. Not like a portal or a warp. Like reality was being ripped apart. Through the tears came darkness. Living darkness. Moving darkness. The Void Stalkers emerged. Ji-woo saw them on the screens. They were worse than she remembered from Platform Omega-7. Bigger. More solid. More real. 9 entities, each one a mass of shadow and wrong angles and impossible geometry. The psychic assault hit like a wave. Every mind on every ship felt it. Fear and despair and hopelessness poured through them. Ji-woo saw her deepest nightmares. Saw the fleet destroyed. Saw the galaxy burning, steady. Ji-hun's voice cut through the terror. They feed on fear. Do not give it to them. All ships commence firing. The human ships fired first. Those weapons that hurt to look at. That existed in multiple states at once. The beams hit the Void Stalkers and the entities recoiled. Velka's ships adjust firing pattern, Ji-hun ordered. Your calculations show weak points. Target them. The Velka's ships fired. Their weapons were different, based on mathematical principles that collapsed probability fields. Where they hit, the Void Stalkers seemed to become less real, more vulnerable. Sulani ships now. The Sulani cruisers released waves of pure energy. The energy washed over the dimensional rifts. The tiers in space began to close. The Void Stalkers shrieked. They needed those rifts to maintain their presence in normal space. They are trying to possess our crews, a Krotek ship reported. 2 officers down. Krotek ships, deploy your protocols, Ji-hun said. The Krotek biovessels released specially designed organisms. Tiny creatures that existed half in normal space and half in the dimensional spaces where the Void Stalkers lived. The creatures attached to possessed crew members and blocked the Void Stalker connection. It works, the Krotek captain reported. Our people are recovering. Keep pressure on them, Ji-hun ordered. Do not let them adapt. The battle continued. It was not like normal space combat. Ships did not explode. People did not die from weapons fire. But the war was just as deadly. Crew members collapsed from psychic attacks. Ships went dark as their systems were corrupted. The Void Stalkers tried to spread terror, to break coordination, to divide the fleet. But the fleet held together. When human crews started to falter, Velka's ships provided covering fire. When Krotek vessels were overwhelmed, Sulani ships pulled them back. When anyone needed help, someone was there. 3 Void Stalkers retreating, Minseo reported. No, wait. They are regrouping, preparing for a coordinated assault. All ships, defensive formation Omega, Ji-hun ordered. Concentrate fire on the lead entity. We break their coordination, we break their attack. The fleet focused its fire. Every weapon, every technology, every technique they had developed. All of it hammered into one Void Stalker. The entity tried to resist. But it could not withstand the combined assault of 40 species working in perfect unity. The Void Stalker shattered. Not destroyed, but broken. Forced back through the dimensional rift. Gone. Target eliminated, Minseo said. Remaining entities are retreating. Sulani ships seal the rifts, Ji-hun ordered. Do not let them regroup. The Sulani cruisers poured energy into the tiers in space. Slowly the rifts closed. The remaining Void Stalkers tried to keep them open. But the energy was too much. They were forced back into the darkness between dimensions. All contacts lost, Minseo reported. They are gone. The bridge erupted in cheers. Voices from a dozen species all celebrating together. They had done it. The first major battle of the Joint Defense Initiative, and they had won. But Jihan did not cheer.
Damage report.